this game. I like it, but it could use some polishing, a facelift, and nearly every surgery it can get. There's been rumors of a Sonic Adventure Remake for years now, but nothing has happened as of this video. Also, Sega still hasn't announced what they were going to show off last year for the Blue Blur, and I just remembered the lesson that Panzer Dragoon Remake taught me. So I better say my piece now while I have the chance. I'm really hoping it isn't just a normal updated remake. I'm hoping to see some big things here. I'm getting my hopes up. That can't be good. Ready? Let's start it off!
10th place.
Looking back, there's a number of things we don't give this game enough credit for. Later games in the franchise tend to stick to one track per level. Adventure 1 had, about 3 different tracks per stage? And they were all really good too. Yeah, I know it's a little silly to put that on here, as if, duh, why wouldn't they keep that? But you have to remember that that's a lot in terms of music production, and they probably have to remix all of it while including new tracks as well. But I think this title deserves it. Many people have Sonic Adventure 1's soundtrack as one of the best for its variety and catchy tunes. You gotta pay it some respect.
9th place.
Clear your schedule. This is gonna take some time to explain.
Watch out! You're gonna crash! Ah!
Look, I don't want to harp on the cutscenes and the way the characters are animated with what little expressive animation they had back then. But this obviously can't come back. We've come a long way, and it's time to let this story be told in ways that won't be a meme. Also, and I'm not the first person to say this, I think it was Roger that said Sonic basically only has one emotion in recent Sonic games: cocky. We find him like that here, sure, but also angry, frustrated, concerned, confused, and surprised. The other characters are like that too, and that helps make them feel like actual characters, and why I'm more invested in these stories than the ones that would come later. Except for Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic Battle. It'll be nice to see what these look like without recycled animations. Granted, they were charming in a strange way, but just do me a favor and give them some really good reaction animations so the remake can stand on its own and not feel a bit, well, like we're just watching them stand around and blow air out of their mouths. Not only that, but you now have a chance to make the story a bit stronger with changes that make sense. Remember when Eggman put Sonic and Tails to sleep and we're thinking, why doesn't he just kill them off right here? Well, why not have it where he thinks about it, but then Knuckles shows up right then, thinking Eggman has pieces of the Master Emerald, scaring him away until Knuckles catches him, realizing it's just a Chaos Emerald. The time frame for that matches up so perfectly! Or say the bird that's with Amy can't fly because it's either injured or the Chaos Emerald it's carrying makes it too heavy to fly so it can't save itself. Or after beating Chaos 6, Knuckles shows up, but it regenerates, hits Sonic with a surprise attack, knocking him into Eggman, knocking them both off the egg carrier, and Knuckles wants to help Sonic, but knows he has to stop Chaos 6 for good. Also, Sonic gets lucky by landing on Big's bed instead of his face. I don't know, just something that doesn't look so goofy and out of place, I say as I talk about a potential remake of colorful, powerful anthropomorphic animals. I know I went a little long here, but the details were very important to get across for this entry.
8th place.
Let's not kid ourselves. Many of the boss fights are a joke, and the character battles are the punchlines that fall flat.
Oh no.
Keep the memes that come from Knuckles, but we have to fix everything else. Or do you like fighting Chaos 4 3 times? Let's start with that one. Here's an idea. We see the other characters take part in the fight, but they are doing something we have trouble making out. Then when we play as the others, we see that they have different ways to attack Chaos 4, thus making this battle more engaging for a fight that's done in 3 different ways instead of making us wait and dodge attacks that barely pose a threat. Some of you might be saying, wouldn't that be a little hard to program? We just had new and far more powerful consoles come out. We should be able to handle that without a problem. What I'm really getting at here is if we have to fight a boss more than once, then can it at least feel different for each fight? Different area, different attacks, different patterns, heck, maybe different bosses altogether. Surprise us, Sonic Team! Make some all new bosses if you have to. I honestly think that would help with some of the characters. Most of the characters only have one unique boss, and the others are hand-me-downs from Sonic. All the characters have unique abilities, why not have more unique bosses for them? And Big? Does that even count as a boss? He can move huge boulders. Why can't he do that against bosses? And can we please make the Chaos battles feel like they have more impact? More dangerous attacks make it feel like an actual threat? It's supposed to be a fearsome beast! Why does the difficulty of the first time you fight it feel more challenging than the rest? I'm asking for too much here, aren't I? Good. Go big or go home, as they say.
7th place.
Say what you will about the hub worlds. Some like them, some don't. Me? I was a fan of Station Square, Mystic Ruins, and... Are these cannons just for decoration? Come on, shoot me! Station Square felt alive. Cars and people moving around, places to go, toy figurines and people to talk to, and a direction that connects the levels together in a satisfying way. Mystic Ruins also felt like that, with areas to discover and people to run into. Being able to sprint around here is what made it feel more like an adventure instead of a platformer. But it was both, and the blend was nearly perfect. Spending time at Station Square helped me feel connected to it, and made it so I didn't want the spoiler in the opening to happen. There were also some items to get, emblems to collect, and secrets for you to discover. So is it wrong of me to want there to be more in these places? More stuff to find! Maybe upgrades to abilities to unlock or buy, Easter eggs to discover. Just throwing ideas out there. Later Sonic games would have terrible hub worlds, but their first one got things so right! That said, I am a little worried that if they added too much, they might lose focus on the simplicity of it and cram it so full that you couldn't move around. It just needs to be a little bigger, a few more things, and we're all good here.
6th place.
Okay, so here's something I'm sure won't happen, but I'm putting it in anyway because that's basically the whole point of the list. How about, if you collect enough emblems, you can unlock even more characters to play as that have their own slightly different abilities. Hold on! Don't get confused. They would have no part in the story, and can't even go around the hub worlds. DX lets you play as Metal Sonic on his own, and Cream makes cameos. Why not bring in some other characters? Shadow, Silver, Blaze, Rouge, Cream, Omega, maybe even King Chaotix if we can squeeze them in there somehow. Or, a slightly more realistic idea, how about we have new story modes for characters like Tikal and Chaos, and explore more of the story here that wasn't told. Not sure what to do about Tikal, but Chaos could be a hack and slash like the Werehog, but with a far better combat mechanic system and flashier moves, and his goal could be either cause as much destruction as possible, or rescue the Chow. We've seen remakes introduce new storylines into an already existing canon, and if they did it right, we'd have more to look forward to, wouldn't we?
5th place.
I beg you, Sega and Sonic Team, no Hedgehog engine or Boost engine or whatever you want to call it. This game works best with a more free-form roaming engine of the days of old. It wasn't about how fast he could go, just how fast he felt. And that speed was great for getting around the areas. This gave us more control over him than ever, and it felt responsive. It was easier to move around. You gained momentum running around normally, and then using the spin dash for a burst of speed for the levels and areas. It really felt like Sonic landed almost perfectly into the third dimension. These controls were some of the best the series had for its 3D games, and it still holds up today. Besides, I don't think the Boost engine would work with all the other characters. Speaking of which...
4th place.
As far as I'm concerned, Sonic, Knuckles, and Gamma's gameplay are fine as is, with maybe a few upgrades to the moves. You three, my office, now! You two feel like major drags, and you are wasted potential! With Big, I know I made the joke a few years ago about making Big a wrestler, but even I know they won't go that far. Instead, how does one really fix what doesn't belong? Let's start with the stage setup. How about we have Big chasing after Froggy, having to free it from robots that capture it before they get away. But of course, it just hops away after being freed until you reach the fishing area, and it's a simple minigame setup to clear it. Maybe he can use his strength to create new pathways, using his fishing rod to get across gaps, grab enemies and items. I'm giving you gold here, Sega, work with me!
Why do you want to play as Big for more time?
Because if it's good, then who cares? As for Amy, I think she just needs to be a little faster, maybe being able to throw her hammer like a boomerang, and I hate to say this, but Maybe she can employ more stealth-based tactics to get away from Zero? This is one of those ideas I hate, but they work given the context. She basically already does it anyway! It's just never really implemented in a way that people will remember it for. Now for Tails, and wow, did you get underutilized here. Race to the finish? Toss it out the window, and let's do him some justice. Tails is smart and can fly. You know what we can do here? Tails can fly around and solve puzzles. Not hard puzzles, but simple ones like... Wait, Amy has puzzles? Why does she have them? Who has time to do puzzles when you're being chased? Just give Tails puzzles and Amy stealth. Although you can still keep the last level where he has to race Eggman to the missile, but maybe once he gets there, he has to solve a minigame to deactivate it. These characters have some potential here that has been untapped for a long time. Will we get this? No. But it's fun to dream and inspire others with ideas.
Third place.
As if I wasn't going to bring this up. How many of us are still hoping to have this feature return? Raise an adorable little cutie and have it compete in races and competition. You level it up by bringing animals you rescued from the stages, and buy stuff for it with the rings that you also keep from the stages. That may sound repetitive, but the levels were so fun that I didn't mind it at all. So what additions can we make? I would like to be able to unlock more toys, activities for them, and maybe some clothes for them to wear. Either unlocked through emblems collected, or winning races, or both. Perhaps you could put in some minigames for them to play to increase their stats, but you'd probably have to pay with rings to use them for quick stat increases. Trying to avoid microtransactions here. You're able to find special eggs in the hub worlds. Can we add more of them? But of course, the biggest thing to add would be online tourneys. Compete online to see whose Chow can swim faster, fly farther, climb higher, and outrun everything. We've been begging for this to return, and if this gets remade, it basically has to come back. I just hope it gets some upgrades to make it even better.
Second place.
There are two kinds of remakes. Those that basically start from the ground up and make it almost different, yet familiar. And then there are remakes that feel like they get some quality of life treatments, but the levels are exactly the same. I'm far more excited for games that expand the originals than the ones that feel like HD upgrades. What I'm hoping they do is recreate the levels, but not as a 1-to-1 ratio. I hope they expand upon them, like what Sonic Generations did. Keep the iconic stuff, but build and add more onto them. I want them to be encouraged to put more stuff into the levels, but they have to feel like they fit the levels or their themes. Casinopolis, man, you could really improve on. Any chance that we could see some extra areas there that include platforming with gambling themes like in Sonic Heroes? I'll be happy to see Bingo Highway if it means collecting 400 rings faster. Or other Sega properties thrown into the mix like they did with Knights. There's a lot more they can add to Windy Valley and the tornado you get sucked into. That place is just dying to have more stuff put into it. I can't even imagine the stuff they could add to Twinkle Park. It's fun to think about until reality sets in. Please at least try.
Alright, first place!
Did you think the stuff I was asking for was impossible? Well, those will seem like blessings compared to the true miracle that could happen if number 1 comes true. The remake comes out, we beat it, and then it happens. A teaser for a remake for Sonic Adventure 2 is shown, and then most of this stuff happens all over again. Right back to here, except this time, the sales are high enough, the fan reception is great enough, the team has proven themselves worthy enough to tease. I told you this would be the real miracle. I mean, hey, it worked for Crash, and Sonic Mania was awesome while showing us that Sega can hire the right people for tasks like this. So, what more do I really need to say here? And that'll do for this list, and if you have a difference of opinions, I'd like to hear what you'd like to see in a possible Sonic Adventure remake, if it ever happens. Imagine if Sonic's 30th anniversary started off like this. Good times could finally be ahead of us.